Okay, so here I'm expecting, I see the candling pilot flame, so it just needs a maintenance. You see the blackening, broken logs, broken refractory brick, lack of maintenance just in general. So I'm not expecting like anything surprising. Take out the burner, have to, use a Venturi tube brush to clean the burner, vacuum the burner. Of course, I have to take the pilot, clean the pilot light, take that apart, 2 screws, bend it aside, get the wrench on it, undo all that, and then take the orifice out. It's a little, it's a little tedious. Remember, I'm hunched over, so I'm like stretched a bit, like trying to get the tools there. And it's low light conditions, condos, so it's like there's no real light in the middle. Curtains are closed. I got my flashlight, got my camera, whatever. I have to undo the pilot nut to get the orifice out. A little bit of a struggle. The orifice over time can get rusted into the pilot assembly, so see, I take the pair of needle nose pliers with the has like a circular opening to it, so you can grip onto something that's circular, and so that doesn't work. But then I know a little trick I have is to take just even like a screwdriver and put it around the pilot, like around the orifice, and just sort of bend it, and it usually snaps and breaks the rusty connection. So that's what I'm doing right now. And so, and then you see it just sort of pops out after I do that. There it goes, pops out. And then, so of course, that's easy to clean once it's out. And then the next step would be to, what I usually do is just take, thermostat wire and run it in between the 2 tubes of the pilot assembly, because in the one tube the gas goes through, and the other, the gap is where the air goes through, and the air mixes with the gas and creates the pilot flame. So you want to put a wire between the 2 and clear out all the debris in there. And there's quite a bit of debris in there after, 15 years or whatever it is. So I'm just running it in there. It's only like a 2-inch piece of wire, and then I tap it just to shake some of it out. And I even actually, I got a little piece of tubing, and I take that. Oh, and then, so there's a little tiny wire I use. There's some air shutters on that particular pilot tube. And I run, there's 4 ports, and I just run it in each port. I just break out any debris that's in there. And that's what I'm doing there. And then, of course, before I put it together, then I had this other little tube, and I blow it out, and just if there's some stuff that's like just hanging loose. I don't recommend using canned air or an air compressor, because it just ends up blowing everything all over the house, and there's no sense in doing that. But if you're just using a little bit of your own breath, and yeah, see, I tap it there, just loosening stuff out, and then I get the tube out and give a little shot of air. You can only carry so many things inside the customer's home, and so I don't really get into too much with the air compressor or anything. Just a little tube. It just does the job. So once that's done, I put it all back together. tighten her up. You see I got the glove on one hand, and I try to have gloves on two hands, but, you know, because you get cut up and stuff, and then the pilot flame starts and it just lights like a 747. Like it's just so much more intense than the pilot flame. And of course then you're going to get more millivolts, and yeah, that's all for top job. And of course, like, try to get the vacuum out, and the fan compartment where the air goes into the fan, it's just dry. Like almost like they're cutting through. I don't know, it's kind of, you know, it's a rental situation, so the new buyers bought it, and you know, it's inheriting this problem. Oh yeah, and then there's something burnt on top, so of course that's smelling. Smells like burnt plastic when you're in the fireplace for the first time. And, you know, there's dust on top, and I look in, and I see the vents compromised. Vents totally cracked, like slipped, like damaged, whatever. There's a gasket seals slipped out, so when you dust, of course all that's going to smell. The exhaust is going to get out through there, it's going to smell when you run it. So I had to deal with that. So I was able to cut that out and stretch down a bit and refasten it, and then of course I scraped all that out, vacuumed that up because it smells, it's plastic. No, this isn't really a typical service call because there's a lot happening here.